Isn't it so cool to see that the work that you've done years ago still be so alive in all these different cities that you're going to and going to be going to?
Listen, it's such a blessing. It was funny. I was just saying a little while ago, it's a difference between a hit record and a classic record. You know what I mean? A hit record is awesome and it's popping, but you may not love it in another 2, 3, 4 years.
Right.
A classic record, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A classic record is going to take you towards you about 99.
Yes.
You know?
Facts on that. And you do have some classics on you and some great collaborations and stuff like that. So I'm really excited. I mean, the one thing I want to know is that, people are always fighting to keep themselves relevant musically, right? And as times change and stuff like that, sometimes it gets harder and harder to be relevant musically.
Yes.
Tank is kind of doing his thing or whatever the case may be. But you've maintained yourself physically on a level that is like, wow. Like, you look like the same Ashanti. I mean, no disrespect, even a little better. Like, how, like, yo. Like, I mean, when the book coming out, when you going to let out The Secret, like, that's something that people can't really do that well. I mean, you'll have guys that may have been heavier like Fat Joe and Rick Ross, and now they've lost the weight. But to maintain your look and to look even better, or like, what's that about?
You say, what's that about?
And when I say look better, you're always beautiful.
Well,
but
thank you so much.
You're matured and you look amazing.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I mean, honestly, it's really about taking care of yourself from within. You know what I mean? I eat right. I'm a pescatarian now. I don't eat a lot of meat.
Hey,
I don't
girl,
eat a lot of.
Hey,
you're a pescatarian?
Team pescatarian.
Hey.
Yes. Hey.
But it's important to kind of take care of yourself from within. You know what I mean? Like, I read up on a lot of stuff. I do research, and there's so much in the environment and the food and the water. It's crazy.
Right.
So I detox, I juice, I hit the gym.
Wow.
And I'm happy. I think it's important to be
Yes.
good from within, and it shows,
It's like, it's so funny, like, as a dude, sometimes when you're like with a girl and then you're no longer with her, you don't wish her well with looks, you know what I mean? You'd hope that, because men have it differently. They can move on to, younger chicks and this and that. They can, upgrade. But, your exes must be like, they must be feeling it like this is one they can't escape.
Oh, man.
I'm just keeping it real. Like, these are things that we think of. They can't escape you.
Listen.
Like, they don't have anything current right now that's beating you. And I'm not calling any names. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to call any names. I'm not going to do that.
This is my guy right here. I appreciate that.
But I don't see any of your exes doing anything better.
I happen to feel the same way. Oh, my God.
Kudos to you. Keep up the great work. Let's get back to the music. I know that you have released some other songs. I actually got your last album. Let's talk about what that's like, coming from having the major label and, getting all the machine behind you, so to speak, to now, having to do your projects and be hands-on.
To being independent and owning my own record label, Written Entertainment. I feel like just currently with music, an artist has to be so hands-on regardless if you're with a major or you're independent. And I feel like when you have that Rolodex of people and you have your radio team and your PR and you're focused and you're driven and that budget, I feel like you can spearhead your movement.
Right.
There are so many people out there that are doing it themselves. And I feel like with a major, I have generated over like $300 million or more, for Universal. And I feel like I need a cut.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
So after just learning so much from behind the scenes, it was like, okay, we're going to do this. Hold on, my live stopped. I'm sorry. I'm like, okay.
You got to get that right.
We're going to do this. You know what I mean? And I got into a position where I was kind of forced to step into the role of being an owner and owning my record label. With everything that happened with Murder Inc. and all of the politics behind it, it was like, okay, you just got thrown into the water. What's going to happen?
Right.
You know, and at that time it's weird because I had gotten offered 7 record deals from majors, 7. And I was just like, you know what? At the time they were offering those 360s.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't do the 360.
Yeah, you wasn't feeling that.
Yeah, you know, I can't, it doesn't sit well with me to give someone a percentage of everything I do for the rest of my life.
Right.
So I said, you know what? Yeah, I can keep that.
Right,
I'm going over here.
Straight up.
And we birthed Written Entertainment. And when I formed the company, I released Braveheart, my first album, independent, and it went #1 on Billboard for independent. So I was very excited and proud about that
As
moment.
you should be.
Yeah.
As you should be. And being able to see what you've been through and learn from it and actually move forward and not go back into the same rat race, so to speak. You know, that's just growth and maturity and everything else that goes with it.
Absolutely.
So
and it's funny because a lot of my peers were like, yo, so what how's that looking over there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can do my direct deals with iTunes. It's a very different split. You know what I'm saying? So it's when you learn it, it can be very, very beneficial.
It's a different ballgame.
Yeah,
it is.
is.
I look at it, and no disrespect to anybody who's signed or anything like that at all, but
exactly.
it's like that. It's like having training wheels.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're independent, you took the wheels off.
Absolutely.
But you get a bigger piece of the pie. So
absolutely.
you may not get the
exactly.
But you know, so how it works out for you and how you want to look at yourself at the end of the day, you know, is what matters.
Absolutely. And the one thing that's important is being able to own your masters and own, you know, and be able to license your music with who you want to without the red tape and the extra clearances and this one gets a piece and that one gets a piece and this one. Nah.
Right.
You know, so.
Can we go back to the humbling beginnings?
Yes.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from New York.
That's what's up. Factory. What part of New York?
I'm from Strong Island.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Where's Strong Island?
Well,
Elmont?
it's actually Long Island.
Hempstead?
But
Where you
no,
from?
what you know about that? You know about those parts?
Yeah, I'm from up top. Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
Oh,
you know?
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
No, I'm originally from Glen Cove.
Oh, Glen Cove. Okay,
Yeah.
familiar. That's what's up. And how did you get discovered, or how did the music find you?
Oh my gosh, this is one of those questions. Okay, let me try to make it short. I got my first record deal when I was 13. I was signed to Jive Records.
Wow.
I was doing talent shows at the Boys and Girls Club, which is crazy. So I got my first deal when I was 14, signed to Jive. That didn't pan out.
Why didn't it pan out?
It didn't pan out because you know what's crazy?
Tell me.
Do you know I was supposed to go on tour at that time? It was with Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. And but I was 14. I was still, you know, was I in high school yet? Yeah, I think I was in high school. And I wasn't happy with the music that we were doing. It just wasn't me.
Okay.
And when I was embarrassed to play the songs for my friends, that's when I was like, I don't know if this is for me. You know what I mean?
So they had a different vision for you, and you had a different vision for yourself.
Exactly.
Was the Murder Inc. more in light of what your vision was for
Oh,
yourself?
100%. You know, there are about 2 deals that happened in between that time.
Right.
But by the time I turned, let me see, when I was 17, I moved to Atlanta. I was signed to Epic Records.
Okay.
And when I came back, a mutual friend who used to babysit Irv Gotti, crazy, set up the meeting, and that's how that all
And was
happened.
it when you met Irv? Was it just automatic? Did it take some time?
No, Irv is a real.
Yeah. Gotcha. So and so is.
Oh my gosh!
He's a
but he was so rude. Like the first time we met, it was crazy. He had us in his office for like 2 hours, and he was eating Chinese food and just smacking on wings and rice.
Right.
And I'm just like, this dude is just, man, some things
Right.
never change. No, I'm just kidding. But when we first met, he kind of was like, I do hip hop. I'm not really into the R&B thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he kicked me over to Def Jam Soul. And
I remember that.
Yeah, so I technically wasn't signed, believe it or not, until after we shot the video for Foolish.
Okay.
So What's Love, Always on Time,
Wow.
How We Roll with Big Pun, all of that, I wasn't even signed.
That's
which is
crazy.
Crazy. So
Wow. A lot of people, from what I remember, because during that era, I was DJing and stuff like that. A lot of people wanted to hate on you.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't believe you deserved what you deserved. I remember specifically there was a Soul Train Award, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people were, panties were in a bunch, so to speak, based on you winning. I can't remember the exact title of the
Aretha Franklin
award.
Entertainment of the Year. Yeah.
Award. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's part of the business, And it's so weird because I knew in my heart everything was going so amazing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very balanced person, and I knew something was gonna come because I'm like, it can't be like this
right.
the whole time. You know what I mean? So I knew something was gonna come, and that was one of the things that came. And I just told myself, like, I love what I do. I have an amazing support system, my family, my label, and I was protected.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out to be something so amazing to have Patti LaBelle, present me with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I had so much love. And it's crazy because people were saying, oh, it's going to be a protest and it's going to be this or that. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you, we had like 40 guys with chains and no T-shirts on the red carpet with me, and I'm all glammed up. I had a bunch of big brothers, and there was not one protester there. So it turned out to be something amazing.
Where do you think that was coming from? Why, what were people expecting from you? Because personally, I mean, you sounded great to me.
Thank you.
And the only thing that I remember people were trying to draw comparisons with was the Queen Mother Mary at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's like, well, Mary's Mary. You know what I mean? Like, that ain't even that, because you were kind of even on like a new wave, because Mary started going into like a different lane, but you were still kind of like, because, she was the queen of soul, hip hop, whatever, but she was kind of moving into like just a soul lane. And then you emerged and you kind of like was...
Well, see, the title was Entertainment of the Year. And I feel like at that moment and at that time,
yeah,
it was popping.
It was.
We were like super lit, and there was so much going on with me making history and tying the Beatles and Billboard chart, and it was a lot, and I felt like, okay, that's the entertainment of what's going on. So listen, I didn't do it. I didn't ask for it.
No, I get you, because it's the same thing we hear now. Just to bring it fast forward now, it's the same thing people were saying with SZA and Alessia Cara. Like, Alessia Cara been out 3 years. Why is she getting the New Artist Award? And Alessia's like, look, I put in the grind. I ain't asked for it. I won. Leave me alone. Because everybody was so passionate about SZA.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So I totally get it. It's just people.
Absolutely.
We just chuck it on the people, and you emerge from it amazingly and continue to be successful and do your thing.
Thank you.
That's what's up. So the state of R&B music right now, your thoughts?
I feel like people want to hear merit and content, and people want to hear like stuff that's relatable. Like, we have a category for the turn up, but I feel like now people want to get back to storytelling and get into your emotions a little bit and get something that's relatable to what's going on, relevant in your life. So I feel like we are getting our way back to the lane, of just listening to real music that you can feel.
Well, the reason I asked you that is that personally, and I'm just one person, I felt like a lot of our music, more in the highlighted music, because there's tons of artists doing their things. A lot of them we don't know about. A lot of projects come out we're not aware of if it's not in mass media. But I felt the ones in mass media, outside of the emergence now of SZA doing her thing and Jasmine Sullivan, you have a few in between. It was losing its soul.
Right.
I felt like even more so with the guys, I felt like they want to be rappers more than they want to be singers.
But this is the thing. It's like, as an artist, sometimes you have to choose between what's selling versus what feels good and what you're passionate about. Because at the end of the day, everyone has bills. You know what I mean? So I'll never forget, I was having a conversation. It was me, Usher, Nelly, and was it just us three? We were having a conversation. At the time, Laffy Taffy was the #1 record in the country. And we were all three of us were like, yo, so what do? Do we stick to making the records that we love and that, you know, have been successful for us? Or do we move into that lane?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, what do you do? Because you're torn. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's funny because I believe conversations from artists happen.
Yes,
and people still talk about, okay, so are we going to do with what we love and what we're passionate about? Because that might not sell and it might not hit the chart. You know, so what do we do?
And then if you feel like you're conforming, am I selling out?
Right, exactly.
What about my original fans?
Exactly.
It's tough.
It's tough.
It's tough.
You know, so.
It's really tough. Listen, I know I could talk to you personally for another 2 hours. You know, I know you're on a tight schedule, and I really respect and appreciate your time. Please share with us how Ashanti's moving forward, what you'd like us to know, how we can support you.
Well, obviously, the new single, Say Less, is in iTunes now, produced by Mustard, featuring Ty Dolla. Super, super excited about it. We actually shot the video, and oh my gosh, I can't wait for y'all to see the visual. It is so super, super crazy. I'm working on so much stuff.
Where'd you shoot it?
All over the place. Okay. Some in Vegas, some in LA. It's all over. Okay. So I'm excited about that. I'm doing a lot of stuff with Metro. We were in the studio on Saturday, and we had a really dope conversation. So we're doing
lose with that guy.
Doing some really amazing things. I got a record with Tory Lanez. That's dope. Crazy. Me and Sway have some stuff. Me and Jeremiah. So
as you work with these artists, how many of them profess their love for you? I'm sure you have to deal with that. Oh my God, girl, you have no idea. I'm like, you know.
Listen, that is a blessing. That is a blessing. I mean, it's, you know, I'm a super humble person, you know, so to walk into a studio, I'm not going to name names, to walk into a studio and to get the, yo, I love you, like, you know, that's, it's genuinely an amazing feeling.
Yes.
So.
And you deserve it. And I could tell that you're humble. And in the past dealings when we've actually did shows here in South Florida and you've performed, you've always been graceful, cool, down for it. I'll take a picture, I'll stop. You know what I mean? And those things go a long way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They do.
That's why you can do your thing now and still have that strong fan base.
I appreciate. You know what's crazy? Listen, this is a little tip. Artists got to be careful because I'm a person that, like, I'm relatable. I'm cool. Like, you can talk to me. I'll make you feel comfortable. From the boss to the janitor, I'm going to treat everyone the same. These drivers, they talk. I'm telling you that drive these artists, when they get cool and comfortable, they'll be like, oh my God, let me tell you about such and such. She's such a, like, I hear so many stories from different drivers about different artists. Y'all better be careful.
Yes, watch out for the drivers. And then
tell it all.
You're having your conversation in the back there, they listening to everything.
Right, and how they talk to you. Like, sometimes, you know, you don't know who you're with. So you have to be respectful to everyone. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of stories from overseas here. Like, the drivers, I don't know, they get cool with me and they start telling me about what's going on. So.
That is awesome. You can start your own little blog or something, right? Off of that. Last question for you. We have a throwback station here called Throwback 105.5. Now, the era of music is now technically considered throwback because, you know, it kind of moves along. Another 5 years is going to be another bunch of artists that are coming into that era. But the era of music that you commanded is now in that throwback category. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about, you know, radio stations popping up, people just kind of embracing, you know, the era of, you know,
it's music? A bittersweet, you know what I mean? Because nobody wants to be considered a throwback.
Right.
But like I said before, classic is classic, and I'm blessed to be able to perform a record that came out 16 years ago and get the same exact reaction now. You know what I'm saying?
Always on time will never die.
Oh my gosh,
Baby
foolish.
will never die.
It's like
unfoolish.
So I'm super, super humbled and super, super blessed. And to be able to sit here today and talk about my new music that is available now and the album to come is a blessing in itself. You know, so listen, it's more sweet than bitter.
Yes,
Let's say that.
Factual facts. Thank you so much for your time, this
All
opportunity. Right. I could check one off on the bucket list. This was definitely a bucket list to be able to talk to you and take a picture with you. Again, how can people connect with you on your social media platforms?
Follow me, Instagram, Ashanti. What is my Snapchat, Ashanti World. Facebook, Ashanti Official. And AshantiThisIsMe.com.
New single, Ty Dolla $ign.
Yeah, in iTunes and everywhere now.
Ashanti in the building.
Yeah.
103.5 The Beat, Throwback 105.5, Papa Keith.